Good. Um, they gave me some beads over there, so I'm like jingling pretty good here. See how that goes. Right, probably not good. All right, let's do this. Let's do some introductions real quick for those who don't know each other in the room, because I think that is a big part of each other's success, this community. So as I am pulling a packet out for Miss Elisa, here you go. You can go first. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Elisa.
Elisa
Jacobson.
Yes, and you are on the Harpo Properties team.
Properties.
Yes. Keisha, you want to go next?
Keisha Bloodworth with Harpo Properties.
Awesome. Mr. Larry, who are you?
Larry Field, I'm Soul Awakening.
Awesome. I love it. All right, want to go over here?
Gary Thompson, I'm Soul Awakening.
Oak Island in the house. We got another Oak Island right next to you.
Yeah, Donna Wagner and Phil Agent as well.
Awesome. All right.
Gary Taylor, dual affiliation, Carrie.
Yes, I'm so glad you're here. That's awesome. All right, who do we have this? Jeff.
Jeff Clifford, overcharged.
Yeah. He's your favorite person. Mine too. So we've got a few people on Zoom here. I'm going to bring them over. Some of our friends are either homesick and or dual career, so they're jumping in with us. My goal is that you guys have a good experience. If you're on the Zoom, I'm going to do all that I can to accommodate everybody, but we will record this. And if the recording doesn't come out as hoped, I'll re-record it so that it's something you guys can go back and watch and have a library on. The genesis of this class was I was at an NAR meeting in Houston, Texas in November, and I was extremely miffed at the fact that 74% of real estate agents this year have had less than 3 transactions, and 48% had had 0. And that was through November. And so I said to Shannon, I said, scrub our roster and let's see where we stand on that, because I don't want our agents to be another statistic in it. And we have agents here with very different goals, and there's zero judgment around that. There are people who are ready to set the world on fire, and there are people who are, this is a second career and they want to help an occasional friend and family. But what I never want is our leadership team losing sleep at night, imagining that you're not equipped with the right tools and resources so that if you decide, you can have the goal and you can achieve the goal if you want. And so this is what propelled us to write this class and why we wanted to present it today. So if you don't know, the KW Innovate mission is we are the most vibrant, attractive, diverse, and agent-centric real estate company on the planet. That is really what we're going for. And we want to be a community that's built on value and retention so that no one has to ever leave. I want you guys to know we can't help you if we don't know you need help. You know, our goal is that everything is right here for you on the platform. But if you're not raising your hand and saying, I'm lost, or I have a gap, or I need assistance, we have so many leadership members that will jump at the chance to help you. In addition to the leadership team, we have a fantastic ALC. And the ALC is the Associate Leadership. The ALC is more than happy to have you shadow them, to attend a listing appointment, to shadow on an open house, to answer questions, to have a one-on-one with you. If you feel like you want an agent conversation to be held, then you can do that. You don't have to always go to leadership. And so I just want you to know you have a really great ALC ready to help. Does anybody not know what the ALC is? Because there's a really fair chance that you don't. So in 1983, when Gary started the company, he gathered the top agents around and he said, how do we build a company that you never want to leave? And they said they had a response for him. Number one was limit the amount of money we pay you annually. So we still today are the only franchise that has a franchise cap and a local cap. Then they said, if you want us to help you build it, then reward us. And they were the genesis of profit share. And so from profit share, they said, if we're going to be stakeholders with you, we want you to open the books and we want to say in how the company's ran. So we're the only franchise that's 100% transparent. It's agent owned, and the ALC is your board of directors. So they're your voice. And so each month on the third Tuesday, right after the sales meeting, the ALC happens, and they're working on policies and guidelines and initiatives that'll move the company forward. And we have a real focus on their business because, you know, John Maxwell, law of the lid, as their business grows, so does the company's. And so it's a 40-year-old rite of passage, I guess. And we just rolled into a new year with a new ALC. Many stayed on, but we had a few new members to it. So if you haven't seen it yet, their pictures are on the wall out there. All right, I want to keep us moving. Every time I let somebody into Zoom, I lose that. All right, so today's goal is to activate your potential. There is zero judgment on the number of months you've been here and the number of transactions you've done. The goal is that moving forward, you're on the path to get that, to light up your business. And so I know at a minimum, all of you want to see a return on your investment. You have taken time and energy to take the test and to invest in the Cape Fear Board of Realtors or Brunswick County Board of Realtors or J Board, whatever board you're a part of. So you're out a minimum of about $2,500. The good news is one transaction 5X is that investment. I shared yesterday a new agent orientation. I have a friend who owns a Subway. It was $250,000 in capital. She makes about $70,000 a year running the Subway, and about every 5 to 7 years, they're asked to do a remodel. So they have to do a facelift to the store. 2,500 or 250,000. This is the industry we're in. Like, the sky is the limit on what you can earn in this business. We just got to get you on the path to do it. And please interrupt me with questions, guys, if you have them. So what I want today is these milestones. Is first, I want to get us clear on what your goals are. And then next, we're going to go deep on what is the database. And then what are the activities that you will do that are going to help you achieve that. So first, we got to get clear on who you are. We have a coach by the name of Jordan Freed, and Jordan has coached about 16,000 coaching hours. Every one of Jordan's coaching clients at a minimum sell about 300 homes, and they all do over $1 million in GCI. About 2 years ago, because I'm friends with them, I called them up and I said, I know we're not in production, Lad and I, but will you take us on as a client? Because I want to help us better help the agents. So I hired an agent coach as a leadership coach. And so he's been coaching with us for about 18 months, 2 years now. About 6 months ago, we started labbing what he is seeing as patterns in the industry, and it's called an agent archetype. And what he's discovered is there's about 10 different agent archetypes in our industry. And through that, when you start to get clarity on who you are, clarity will unlock your potential. And so we're going to take that assessment. From that partnership, Logan, my colleague in Myrtle Beach, being the smart guy that he is using GPT, he built our company a chat GPT extension just for you agents. It's private. It's a Keller Williams proprietary GPT, but you can literally walk away with total clarity on your business plan from there. And then what Jordan believes, and I would agree with him, is that most of us struggle with annualized goal planning because we will psychologically tell ourselves we have next month, we have next month, we have next month. And that's the way this business works. Instead, we like to shrink the goal and do it for 90 days. So today we're going to set 90-day intentions so that when you walk out of here, you have very clear benchmarks and targets of where you need to go for the next 90 days. Is that fair? All right. Who has questions so far? All right. I'm nailing it. So first is the foundation, which is the database. So I am a drawer. For those who are on the screen, I'm gonna do what I can for you to see me. Who's read the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book already?
Started reading.
Okay, so I will be the first to admit, well, now they've come out with the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Rookie book, and that is, I would recommend that right away. It is a version that isn't as overwhelming to the path of $1 million. But the MREA Red Book really goes deep on what it is that we must do to net $1 million in our business. Now, you may not be in this for $1 million, or you may be in it for more. The really good news about real estate is it's very economical and it's very mathematical. And so there is a math or a science to how to win in this business. And the first place to begin is the database. Does anybody remember when oil was a big deal in Texas and people made a lot of money on oil, right? That is data today. You will be rich on data. The more data you have, the more wealthier you will become. So your one thing, if nothing else, is data, okay? And what do I mean by data? It's name, address, phone number, email, and if you can get it, their birthday, which Facebook makes that so easy. I would highly recommend the birthday. And then Command even has a place for their social URL. Does anybody know why Command has that?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if you have their social URL in there, there is a button in Command that you can toggle on. And when you go do a Facebook ad, it lands in the feed of your friends instead of the feed of your strangers. Isn't that amazing?
I love it.
So you have name, address, phone, email, birth date, social URL. Now, what a lot of people forget to do, you're going to want to tag these people. So this may just be SOI, okay? Now, as you begin to meet people, you might want to create a spreadsheet with a cheat sheet of tags. Don't get tagged crazy because tags will later backfire on you. Keep it real simple. Buyer 2026, seller 2026, sphere of influence, agent in California. You don't want to get it complicated because it will really harm you later, but this does matter. And here's why I like tags, because a lot of people in your database are probably also business owners or entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurs are you, just like them. And the beautiful thing about business to business is they want to help your business grow because you in return can help their business grow. So a second tag might be plumber or carpenter, whatever that is, right? And so you're going to want to have a tag on these people, and I'm going to explain why, because there's a really big strategy around B2B. How many of you are from here locally? We got 2. That's it. So like me, if I were to jump back into real estate tomorrow, I have 5,000 Facebook friends, 4,800 people in my phone, but probably only 400 of them are local and they're all realtors. So I have about 50, 60 friends I've made maybe since living in Wilmington that's new that I could add to my database. Does that make sense? So if I had to jump back into this business, I would have to have a very specific strategy around growing this database to support my goals. And here's why. So in the middle here, it says A plus, A, B, C. So in the A plus are your raving fans. These are going to be people that know you, like you, trust you. And if they hear a conversation about real estate, they're going to get up and go, you got to call my girl Dawn, right? They're not going to use anybody else. Your A's are going to be, oh, by the way, you're going to know that they're going to refer business to you in that year. So they're either going to have bought with you, sold with you, refer to you. An A, they are a raving fan. They may not have a transaction in that year, but you know they're not going to use anybody else. B's, they know other agents but there's a good chance that they would use you if they chose to. And then C is everybody else. These people matter because most real estate agents, and not you, especially after today, they orphan their clients after a transaction. And so your chance to adopt a client is very easy. And this is what I mean by data being a new oil. Because if you send these people, we call them a MET. And a MET is really simple. I've met you, I like you, I'm gonna put you in my database. That's it. And I'm gonna get all of this information on you, and then I'm gonna communicate with you in a systematic way 36 times a year. And it has to be needed and useful information, not canned spam that's gonna cause them to unsubscribe. This is very easy for two reasons for you guys. One is there are already a smart plan library of smart plans pre-written for you that you can literally add right to your library. The second is ChatGPT. You could put together a newsletter that is needed and useful and let ChatGPT write it for you. So you get to pick. But it is so easy. There is zero excuse for not having 36 pieces of communication going out. Okay. Now, what is the makeup of that? You've got 4 calls. DTD2 makes that very, very easy. What that means is there's 26 letters in the alphabet and there's 13 weeks in a quarter. If you call 2 letters a week, you will have called them each quarterly, which adds up to 4. So if you're going, what do I do today? You're going to look at DTD2 and it's A and W week. You're going to call everybody who has the last name of A and W. And it's going to say, Keisha, this is Manda. Hey, I'm just calling to check in. I wanted to wish you a happy holiday. What are your plans? Oh, we're traveling. We're doing this. We're doing that. Awesome. Hey, while I have you, do you have any plans for real estate in 2026? No, not that we know of. Well, awesome. I wanted to offer an opportunity for a strategy session to evaluate your current real estate and then see if there's any room for new real estate next year. Would that be worth your time? Now, I shared this in yesterday's class. A lot of you struggle with that because you've told yourself all these sellers are sitting on 3% and they're not going to move. So that could be true, but I want you to know I was one of them. I left a 3% rate to move to the island in Carolina Beach. I doubled my mortgage and cut my square foot in half. I made a lifestyle decision. Okay. So do not disqualify people in advance of having a conversation with them. You don't know where people are in their life. I was an empty nester and it was time for me to move out of a 5-bedroom home in Wilmington. Okay. Number 2, you may have people who have so much equity that they would like to invest in real estate and you can show them the path to investing in real estate. Does everybody understand that? So I got with First Citizens Bank. I had an appraisal done and I have a HELOC sitting and waiting for me with $100,000 to spend. So because my house has appreciated since moving in by $100,000 already. So that's money that I can go out and go buy real estate. I want you to know most of your database are sitting in this position. Okay? Yes, sir.
I don't understand HELOC very well. Can you give us more of an explanation of how it works?
Yeah, so it is a soft credit pool. They did a drive-by appraisal and then they got the appraisal comes back. That's the only thing I had to pay for is the appraisal, $700. And they open a line of credit at the bank for $100,000 because that was the equity that I had. Now I don't pay anything on the $100,000 until I begin using it. If I go out and buy a property and I take $50,000 for the down payment, I pay an interest only on the 50, and then I have a new mortgage payment on the second home. So combined, I would have to find a property that would cash flow above the 2 numbers combined, and I would be net positive. Does that make sense now?
Yeah.
So everybody understand the HELOC? Okay. So in December of 2008, There were 12 inches of snow on the ground in Champaign, Illinois, and I closed 14 sales that month. 12 of them were investors. Okay, investors are not emotional, they're mathematical. And so if you can help them quit disqualifying people that are around you because they've got the equity regardless of the 3%. Okay, so I just want you guys to be thinking a little bit differently by the time you leave today. So you're going to call these people quarterly. They're going to get a monthly email from you. So there's 16. They're going to get the neighborhood nurture from you. Now, depending on what you do, you could do 1 a month or 2 a month. If you did 1 a month, that's 38. And then you're going to have events. So I would recommend, anywhere from 2 to 4 events. Now, events are not just one touch because you do a save the date, you do a you're invited, you do a reminder, and then you do a pictures from the party, and then you post the party, and then you write the we missed you, sorry you couldn't attend email. There's 5 to 6 touches off of one event. So now you're way beyond 36 pieces of communication to that client. Now, this doesn't include a birthday or a home anniversary. And it doesn't include a pop by. Okay, so you have all of these resources that you could be using to make people think about real estate when they think of you. Now, these are your myths and your strategy to get them to get mind share. Who has questions so far? All right, these guys are going to convert at about a 6 to 1. So for every 6 people in your database, you should expect a closed sale. Actually, I'm going to lower this because now people are sitting longer. So they say it's at 4 to 1 right now. So if I want to sell 40 homes, I need 1,000 mets in my database. Is everybody following? Because it's 4 to 1. Who has questions? You can't leave here and not ask them. So we're going to talk about strategies on getting them, okay? Now, over here are non-mets, and it means exactly what it says. I haven't met you yet. Now, how do we have non-mets? These are billboards, which I do not recommend one of you does until you can afford 12 months of a contract. But signs, social media, open houses, online leads, those are going to be non-mets. Back when we had a newspaper, we did newspaper ads, we used to have a real estate magazine, we did that, but those were all the people who didn't know you yet, but you made a brand impression on them. And if you captured their information, they moved from a non-met to a met. Do we get it? So if you have a database gap right now, you've got to be thinking of 2 strategies. 1, get your Met list complete with all of this information and identify your reality. 2, you need to know the gap between your reality and your goal. So if your goal is to sell 40 homes and you are 400 short on the database, now we got to go here and go, how am I going to meet 400 new people so I can fill the gap? Is everybody following so far? Please ask questions, you guys. Okay? So, as we got people still coming in, as we move through here, there's 4 laws of lead generation. And the first one is to build it. You've got to get your database your Met database to a minimum of 201, or it's going to be really hard for you to succeed in the business. Okay? It is not a woe is me, it is a reality. You want to get to 201 as fast as you can. And here's why I say that. Because we know mathematically that is what you're going to need to at least succeed at having 4 transactions in the business. Then you're going to have to understand that quality beats quantity. And here's what I want you to know about that. Garbage in, garbage out. So you don't want to just dump a bunch of names into your database and then expect that database to perform. You want to take the time to really fill the database out. And the agent resource drive, I want you to write this down. is a document called a memory jogger. And the memory jogger is going to help jog your brain of all the people you're not thinking about that you come across every single day in your world, but you didn't get their information, right? You walk by people all the time in your neighborhood. You see people in businesses. You see people out at the store. You know architects. You know plumbers. You know automobile mechanics. You know these people. Not only do they own a business, they own a home most of the time. So you're going to do that memory jogger and you're going to get it in there. And I want you to also be thinking about not just net worth clients, but net worked clients. And here's what I mean. A good buddy of mine back home, we had Kraft Foods in my hometown. Kraft employed about 40,000 people there. He was in on the HR department of Kraft Foods as their realtor preferred agent. So every time they relocate anybody in or relocate anybody out, he got the call. So who do you know in Wilmington that is net worked, or Jacksonville or Brunswick County? I don't care. And just be thinking about that. We are growing in all industries right now. There is a lot of relocation happening from Raleigh and from Charlotte. Who are the relationships you have that maybe one turns into 50? So I want you to really look at that data inside your database and analyze, who am I overlooking that's a highly networked individual that I need to be taking out to lunch once a month? Because that's what he did. And he would go out once a month and he'd go, how you doing? What are your goals? What do you need help with? What's your gaps right now? And he literally was a consultant in their business. And then every time he'd get the call. When I started in real estate, we also had the University of Illinois. We would do town tours for the recruiting of the university. We literally rented a limo. We had a town tour packet. We picked them up. We showed them all over Champaign-Urbana. And when they made a decision at the U of I where they were going to move, we got the call to sell the house. So you think about Chamber of Commerce, you think about UNCW, you think about PPD, you think about the banks, Live Oak. Who do you know? Because there's growth happening. All right. So when I say quality beats quantity, look at your networked relationships. And then weekly database growth is a non-negotiable. I started this out by saying data is the new oil. So when you meet someone, I don't want you to see them as a dollar sign, but I want you to think about they need to go in the data bank. Does everybody understand that? Data bank. The bigger it gets, the bigger the return on your investment. Okay? Who has questions about building it? So we've talked about the memory jogger. We've talked about scrubbing all of your social media sites. Most of you have more friends on your social media than you do in your phone. When I started, I went to my parents and I got my mom's old school address book that she still uses to handwrite Christmas cards. And I said, give that to me. I am going to get all the names out of here and they're going to go into my database. My kids' school directory, my church directory. I went everywhere I could that had free data. And I went and I said, who do I know on here that belongs there? Okay. If you have a second job, who are the customers that are walking in the door that you're letting walk out without their information? Okay. So here we go. Let's build it. Now we're going to feed it. So you have to have a system around feeding it. And KW makes this easier than ever. When Jeff and I started, we had Post-it notes and notebooks and we would meet somebody and we'd write it down and we'd later lose it. And so this is a game changer for all of you. In your KW app, every one of you has the ability to just log in and you can add a new contact right to your app from your phone. It goes right into your command and you can literally trigger a smart plan right from there. You can add a note on where you met them, you can tag them, and you can do everything right through your KW app. So your tendency, here's mine, is to add somebody new to my phone contacts. But I want you to switch this. I want you to add them to your app, okay? Because then they're going to be in your database. Because if you're like me, you're not going to go back later and load the contact in. Does that make sense? So you're going to start, everybody you meet, you're going to start doing this. Then, yes, sir.
So that's a good way to get them started on one of those plans.
Yep. Smart plan. You can do it right from there.
Okay,
Yep. Madison will teach you guys, but I know that there's a way that you can have a tag, and when you hit open house tag, it triggers the smart plan to go right out. So you're gonna enter the contact in, I meet you at my open house, and I'm gonna load you in, and I'm gonna tag open house, and an 8x8 drip campaign launches. Does everybody get it? So then and when I say get it, this is not disrespect, it's a chance to ask you guys to ask me questions. So you're wanting to put together a more systematic approach to feeding it. So daily lead generation, you guys, will help you create stability, and inputting the data helps you create predictability. Most of your anxiety right now comes from, when is the next closing gonna happen? And there's only one way to predict it, and it's through a pipeline. And the only way to build a pipeline is through the data, okay? So we wanna be feeding it every day. I was with Jason Abrams last week. Who's listening to the MRE podcast? Okay, guys, please, on Mondays, go ahead and go follow the podcast. On Mondays, a new one drops. They are amazing interviews. You could go back to episode 1, and they have a notes page that they'll send you for a download of every one of these plays. So when we get to levers today, I'll give you some advice around that. But one guy, he started in real estate. It took him 6 months to get a transaction. He hired a coach, and the coach said, I'm going to give you one challenge. You're going to do nothing else. And if you do this, I promise you, we're going to put you on the path to transactions. He did 10 open houses a week.
Wow.
10 a week. And within 4 months, he had 4 transactions a month coming in from doing 10 a week. Now, there were days nobody showed up. But what did he do when he was there? He worked. Instead of working from home or working from your office, go work from a listing. It's a sign in the yard, and you're opening the door for somebody to come in that might be a prospect for you. Some of my best business comes from open houses. I had a client that walked in. She did not buy that house. She bought another house, sold her current home, and then a year later divorced, and I sold both. I got 4 pieces of transactions from 2 hours of work. I promise you, open houses pay off. You can't be discouraged with nobody showing up. You just have to run the play. But your goal is to create this predictability for you, and the only way to do it is to feed it. Now we have communicated systematically with it. I hit on this a little bit, but the big thing is call your database through your app. So you're going to open up your app, and your contacts are going to be there. Instead of calling from your contacts, call from the app. And the reason is that the data is recorded that you've made the call. And when you go to hang up, it'll say add a note or add an activity. And you can hit the microphone, speak to the app, and tell the app exactly what the conversation held was. I'm Matthew. So does everybody understand this? So
You're connected to the Twilio video though?
what?
The Twilio?
You don't need Twilio to do that. No. And you can text direct from there without Twilio. Twilio happens in direct for campaigns or for sending mass text messages, but you can make calls from your app without Twilio. Twilio is just a texting tool. You can email right from your app, call from your app, and text from your app, and launch smart plans from there. Your quarterly calls are your DTD2. Everyone in your database should be on a neighborhood nurture. Who knows what that is that can tell the group what it is?
Anytime a property in the area where they live goes to jail or sold or anything, it's sent to them.
Yeah, so Zillow like blew it up when they did the Zestimates and when they did it by zip code. What KW did different, and the consumer loves it, is it's by address and by neighborhood. They went deeper and more hyper local. These are one of the most open communications in the campaign system. Most people are sending them twice a week. My lender, who I bought my home from, every month sends me an update of my C. Ray Lane property. Every month I open that up to see what's happening with my property value. If you were to do this, you would see that they opened it because command is going to tell you that they viewed it, and you're gonna have a reason now to call them and go, what did you think of your property evaluation? Right? So, and then the Bold 100. Who can explain what the Bold 100 is? Quit being shy, y'all. So what it is the Market Center, yes, Chris, what, Market Center got together. Yeah, yeah, the Market Center got together and said, how do we create the easy button for you so that you will deploy the plan? We wanted to give you a reason to make calls or to communicate with your clients. So for instance, in January, we're gonna have like a, renew package, and it's gonna be all about, a smart home. And there's gonna be this really cool package put together that you're gonna get to promote that we're gonna pay for. It's $1,000 in value, and you're going to reach out to your clients, put it on your social media, email your database, and you're gonna make calls on the day of the Bold 100. And the call's gonna say, hey Don, I'm reaching out because we're so excited. I'm giving away a smart home package valued at $1,000. There's only two things I need from you. One, your permission to enter you. Is your information still correct? Awesome. Two, do you know anybody who might be looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Because with the referral, you get entered twice. No, I can't think of anybody right now. That's okay. I put you on the spot. If somebody comes to mind, call me back because I don't want them to end up with a weak agent, and I want to be there to help them. Click. Now you're going to go and you're going to enter them into the drawing. And at the end of the day, all of your entries go into the drawing, and the Market Center picks one winner for you to call your client up and say you won the package. And we do this every single quarter. Okay, so it's an initiative that we put together for you to have a reason to make outbound calls to your clients. Is everybody following? So then you've got the 10, 25, 90, which I'm going to get to here in a little bit. Who has questions so far? All right, now this is from Jordan Freed, and it is small, but it is in your book. This is a play that Jordan has written for top agents to have a calendar-driven systematic communication plan. And what it means is on the 10th of every month, something goes out to your database. Something. You can pick from any of these things on the list or create any of your own ideas. Then on the 25th, something else goes out to your database. Something amazing, a newsletter, a giveaway, the Bold 100. Look and see when the month is happening, because the Bold 100 is quarterly. You can steal it and use it as your 10th or your 25th communication. And all of those things are published for you already. Then every 90 days, you're going to do one of these four things. You're going to have a call-in, Bold 100. You're going to have an opt-in, which instead of them calling in, they fill out a Google form and they register for a prize. Or you're going to have a come-in, which is a reverse pop-by, like Pi Day. Or you're going to have an in-person event. Now, the in-person events are really powerful because you get to have, anywhere from 50 to 100 to 200 conversations in a night when you have a client event. So client events that I've had is a Super Bowl party. I literally went to the top floor of a brewery. I rented it out. We had a big screen television, and we had the vendors buy the drinks. We gave away a flat screen TV. We did a Super Bowl board, and we played the game. It's amazing because people feel like they can come and go and they don't have to stay at your house. They're there for the commercials or they're there for the game. And every year we had anywhere between 150 and 200 people come to our Super Bowl party. So that's an example of a client event that we would host. Another client event I had, because I raised kids in real estate, is I did brunch with the bunny, or I did breakfast with Santa. And so every year we would arrange Santa or the Easter Bunny, and they would come to our place and we would have a photographer there. And we took pictures of them, and then they got a digital copy of said picture. I would have non-Mets coming to this because they were looking for a place to go see Santa. And I would publicize the event and they would get pictures. Melissa Martin's team has done this the last couple of years where they bring in the Grinch. And so, make sure she didn't turn, I didn't think she did. I gotta turn my ham on. So she brought in the Grinch. And so a lot of people have fun with the Grinch, of course. And, so you could do any of that. What I would suggest on any 4 of these is do something that you love. Ben Zaffron is a wine drinker. They get together and they bring a person in who does a wine tasting, and she might bring a variety of wines from Australia, talk about the wines. They get to do a tasting with the wines. They have appetizers, and then the lady sells the wines back to the people who are in the crowd. So win-win. It didn't cost him anything, right? Surf. Ben loves to surf. So he does surf lessons for kids and for families, and he arranges it, and they sign up to get a lesson. Lad loves pickleball. Pickleball tournaments you could sponsor. You could be arranging lessons for pickleball. But what do you like to do? What will you do that's going to give you energy, bring you joy? Because people want to do business, you guys, with like-minded people. And you have to put these things together. If you don't do 4 client events a year, do 1, because it's a gratitude opportunity to bring them together. Now you might be looking at me and going, I don't have a budget for that. You don't have to. Number 1, you can have a sponsor host the event and they pick up the tab. Or 2, you tag on to an event that's already happening. I want you to think about concerts in the park or charitable events like giving day, where you could go out into the community and donate at Mother Hubbard or Soup Kitchen where y'all can serve soup. There's so much that you can do that doesn't require you to have to write a big check for, okay? So who has ideas for the 10, 25, or the 90? Who's got ideas around that? Or who has questions around it?
I like what Jason Bell's doing. He takes people out on a sailboat
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
I mean, people will fall all over themselves to go.
Oh yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. I don't own a boat, so it's like, what could I do, right? So I could have a company, or I could have a picnic in a park. I mean, there's just so much that I could do that would replace that. Or I could go and get a sailing lesson, pay for 1, and then do a drawing for my database. So there's a lot that you can do here, but you do need to have face time and you need to be engaging with that database, okay? At the sales meeting today, we're gonna go over what the quarterly play is, and you guys are gonna get to write this out. Now, servicing the leads. So there's a lot of power in a pipeline. Your pipeline in command is called opportunities, okay? This is your windshield business. These are all the things you're working on that haven't yet matured into a transaction. And I said earlier that most of your stress comes from the lack of predictability in this business. So do you guys know that most people can make $100,000 in this business by selling just barely 1 a month? Okay. So by doing that, if I have a 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, and then I call this 120 plus, I then need to know that I need at least 2 people in my pipeline every month for 1 to fall out and close. Okay? So when I am prospecting and I am doing my DTV2 and I've exhausted the database, I'm going to go to my next lever. And then I'm going to go to my next lever. And I'm going to talk to you about levers in a minute. I'm going to go to my next lever until I fish out an appointment. Every bit of what we do is for the goal of an appointment. I'm going to have a consulting session with that person. And if they qualify as a buyer or a seller or an investor, they're going to go in one of these lines, a 30, a 60, or a 90. Now, why do I have 120 plus up here?
120 days.
Yeah, so Manda, when moving from Champaign, Illinois, started looking 9 months ahead of the time that I purchased. But if somebody had me as a client, they probably would have dropped me because they're terrible at nurturing. Not you guys. But if you don't have these people in your pipeline and you haven't set them up on a search and you don't have them running on a smart plan, they're going to fall through your cracks and they're going to land up in somebody else's database. And when they show up to look at homes in Wilmington, they're not gonna call you. So you have to have full visibility of every damn lead you have. And in Wilmington, we are a city that so many people travel to, fall in love, and the next summer buy. So you're not gonna always land on a 30-day buyer, right? But your goal is to always be moving people up, and then you have predictability into the business. So when I'm prospecting, the first thing I'm doing is I'm filling the gap. And I'm looking for somebody who's ready right now. I'm gonna call everybody in my database, but I'm gonna qualify them to find out what their motivation is and what their timeline is. And I'm gonna put them in one of these places. Does everybody follow me so far? So now I have an A, B, C, or D buyer, and I'm going to treat them very differently. I do not want you in a car 5 days a week with somebody who's out 120 days from now. They need to be looking at open houses, they need to be on drip emails, they need to be having an open house pass from you, going to look at new construction locations and registered with a buyer agreement that they're working with you, but you can't spend 5 days a week in the car with this person because they're not ready yet. And it interferes with your prospecting time. Does everybody get it? So you've gotta be working on the right things at the right time. But investors, they're tricky. Investors, I want to keep on my pipeline all the time because they're ones that will say, if you come across this, call me, I'll buy it. But they don't have a 30, 60, 90 day. They have an avatar property in mind. Until the avatar listing comes live, I can't count on them yet. So I'm going to put them out here at 120 plus. But anybody else I meet, I'm going to ask them, Matthew, that sounds great. When is your goal to move by? Well, February. Fantastic. They're the next 60 days. Okay. And now I know I have one of two of the people I need in my pipeline that's going to fall out. So that's your only intention in prospecting, is to be setting appointments with qualified people who can move into one of these buckets. And if you keep the bucket full every month, for those of you that are dual career, it gives you a runway to get out of your second job. For those of you that are full-time and don't want a second job, it gives you security. All right? So that's your one thing, is to constantly prospect into that. Yes, ma'am.
So are these like buckets kind of in your head, or are you tagging them, or?
Opportunities.
Yeah.
So you'll want to have opportunities and you'll have your phases inside of that. And so you'll want to park them and you'll want to keep them in your opportunities. Is the opportunities in command, you can create phases, so you can have a buyer opportunity, seller opportunity, and you can have a 30, 60, 90 in there if you want.
Yeah, 100%, and then it's, so you could put like what your commissions are gonna be in there, so you can start forecasting your business, which you should really be doing. It also is a driving factor to keep coaching, because I'm gonna go in the bank and see what percentage I get, but that's a possibility of being in the bank, so I'm gonna go chase it a little harder.
Yeah, and it keeps them on your board. So when I sold, none of this existed. I had a whiteboard and I had everybody written up on the whiteboard on where they are in their transaction. And once they went under contract, they went onto the pending board, and then they went on to the closed board. And so that I had full visibility of my business. You guys have that now with opportunities.
I'm not saying you don't do a whiteboard either.
Yep.
But there's something just motivating about seeing what's up on it, like, all right, that person's, they're getting, like, there's just something motivating about it.
Yeah, it's not an or, it's an
Yeah.
and. If you do a whiteboard, do it, because I love a scoreboard. The reason that I want you digital is I want them on smart plans and searches.
Yeah, 100%. You gotta know
Yeah.
your numbers too, you're running a business.
Yeah.
You gotta be responsible for your numbers.
Who has other questions on the pipeline? Because that was good. Yep.
This sounds a little bit complicated. Could we get some classes on how to set this up?
Yep. It's just the opportunity outlet, but yes.
Okay.
Who else? Yes.
Okay, so this is happening during that prospecting.
Yep.
So if we have up let's say a Google sheet or something, and we put this information and I see an empty, are we able to just import
So you
that?
can, yeah, you can dump your whole phone in command. You can do a CSV file in command. Anything you can turn into a CSV can be loaded. Scott Leroy is our tech partner in addition to Maddie, and they'll just do it for you. So you can send it to Scott and go, please upload this data, and he'll put it in for you. So it's real easy. And then your pipeline predicts profit. Jeff, you brought up some lead conversions, because some people, their database has gaps and they may go out and they may have a small ad spend that they wanna do. Facebook, the partnership through Command is around $2.50 to $3 a lead these
It
days.
could be like $5, $6 sometimes.
Okay,
Very,
depending on-
it's not, it's a low cost
yeah,
for lead gen,
but
right?
what were some lead numbers you were sharing with me?
Yeah, we pulled them up.
Cause I didn't get them on the slide deck.
I was pulling some other numbers here too, so I'll pull those up. So I think we have roughly, how many members do we have in our MLS? 30?
3,500.
Alright, so, only 2,372 have even done a transaction. And a large portion of those are a half a transaction. When we look at it, 786 brokers out of 3,500 have done 6 transactions with them. Everybody else has done less than 6. And about less than 4 transactions over almost 1,400.
No,
So there's a lot of opportunity there for y'all to get in there and capture some of that business.
when you hear that, what do you hear?
Lots of
Opportunity, yes.
Opportunity.
A lot of people think that the real estate space is crowded. It's not. It's really only crowded at the top with the top 20%. And your goal is to just step over people to the top. Because so many people won't implement this. And I say step over them, like not in a mean way. I say today's rookie of the year is not yet in the business because there are so many people who are complacent and they're going to settle in the business or they're gonna resign out of the business or they'll be done with it. Which, by the way, is another opportunity. Who is a relationship that you have, or who do you need to be in a relationship that is ready for retirement? They have a database that I just marked up here for you, that they are not going to. Most real estate agents do not have retirement parties, they have animals. They don't understand that this is an asset and it's a business and they can have income from the business beyond their last day of showing a house. You can make an offer to somebody. There's this book right now, if you write it down, called Golden Handoff. It's called Golden Handoff. You can make an opportunity with somebody that says, let's tag team this together and let's build your exit. And then the next 3 years, we're gonna co-host client events, we're gonna co-communicate smart plans, we're going to send newsletters, we're gonna have all this together. And after, when you're ready to retire, I will send you checks for the next 3 years in exchange for this data. Is everybody getting it? And then when they're done, they're done. But instead of showing houses and banging pavement, they're on a cruise ship and they're collecting a check from you. And it's called a golden handoff. And there are people in this business who are looking up going, AI, too much. Tech, too much. I don't want this. But I got a lot of people who love me, who can come in and help me and take over the data. Is everybody following that? So that is a real strategy. It's called a golden handoff. But I want you to think about that opportunity.
I have the numbers put up for you.
Okay, go for it.
So the best conversion buckets, obviously the referrals in SOI, they'll convert at 25 to 40%. I already said, right? So that's huge, right? If I'm gonna spend my time somewhere, that's where I want to spend my time. Getting referrals and then my SOI. Next is, so this is a sign of the times, because when I did my research, they're like, this is shocking, it's YouTube. Inbound YouTube has now moved to number 2 at about 10 to 15%. But you see how much less it is than referrals and SOI? Like it's substantially less than that, right? Next is if Zillow Flex leads are on there. Now, the downside to a Zillow Flex lead is, anyone know there's a cost for that lead? Anyone know what that is? It's anywhere from 35 to 40% of a referral fee you have to pay. So although they're pretty good at converting 8 to 15%, you're going to pay a lot of money out of it. You're going to pay almost half your compensation out to them. So you want to think about that when you're running your business. Like take off your salesman hat, put on the business hat. Does that make sense, right? And then open houses, 5 to 50%. Are the top 4 right now that are out there that are converting at a high level. There are some mid ones too, retargeting ads. You can use Instagram, Facebook, Google, and you can do some retargeting. You'll get better hits with retargeting than you will with maybe your initial ads on Facebook. With retargeting, you'll get better close percentage on those. Some of the lower ones are gonna be the Facebooks, the Googles, Instagrams. Those are, those leads are $2 to $7, $8, but they're gonna convert at 1 to 3, 1 to 4%. So for every 4 leads, or for every 100 leads, you're gonna convert. The best convert 4%. They're getting 4 leads out of every 100, right? Now they're very low. They're also, when you look at that, if you've done any kind of training, the incubation period on those is long too. So because it's a low cost lead, the incubation period is generally 12 plus months. Everyone know what an incubation period is? That's how long they have to sit in my pipeline before they get ready to buy. So how long is that lead gonna have to sit in my pipeline? How long am I gonna have to nurture them for? Which is okay. You want it, that's fine. If you start that now, then a year from now, they're in your pipeline. You can start getting rewards from this, right? But that incubation period, you have to think about that. Whereas when you look at your sphere of influence or open houses, in the funnel of the world, they're 0 to 3 months. So if somebody sends you a referral, I just got one. 0 to 3, like they're gonna buy next month. It just came in earlier this week or late last week. So referrals and SOI, they're gonna be in the next 0 to 3, 0 to 4 months. The best thing about referrals and SOI is, I don't want to say it's no cost, because maybe you're doing a Popeye, you're investing some time or something.
But it's a 6 to 1.
But it's huge. It's like cost, like if I want to compare, like if I want to, like either pay 30 or 40% referral to Zillow, or if I want to buy a Zillow lead, I mean, you can still buy leads by zip code. I think Ogden right now is selling for about $1,000 to $1,200 for 1 lead. Like, what? They convert at 8 to 10, 8 to 50%.
So Hank Trociani is our #1 agent in Keller Williams, and he started with Sphere, Builders, Pearls, and then started to buy Zillow leads and he built his team. 4 years ago, he just shut the Zillow leads off, and they have not gone backwards by an inch. Instead, he took all that money and he reinvested it in the database. And so they doubled down on marketing, communications, and client events. And so what the trouble with it is that there's an uncontrolled or unpredictable cost of business with Zillow specifically. Now, Realtor.com is going to play a bit of a different game, but a lot of people, Zillow is like crack, man. I mean, if you get going on it and then you get addicted to that and you ignore the rest of your database, when Zillow makes a change, you're hurting. And I watched a lot of teams that were stacking 15, 20, 30 agents on their team with Zillow Flex. And then Zillow Flex made a change in cost. And 15 of those agents left because it went dark. There were no leads.
I can't control web traffic. If this straight goes up to 8, web traffic's gonna die. So, and then what happens? Now you can't feed these brokers. Like,
I think 8 million leads were sold and only 4 million home purchases happened.
yeah, that's right.
So most of you are chasing the same lead, but most of you don't have the same database. You get that? It's such a huge opportunity to go there. Now, your business prototype. Now this is where it gets funky because realtors don't like math. There's 3 types there's 3 tiers of wealth. The first one is what most of you hope to achieve, and it's first to make a living. You have a very basic number of what it takes right now to pay your bills. Whether it's $3,000 a month or $10,000 a month, you know what your budget is for a cost of living.
Do you though? You should.
If you don't, that's homework 1.
We have a spreadsheet, it should be in the drive.
Yep.
Where you can put all that information in, because you should know, like, you should know your business expenses, but you should also know your personal expenses.
That's right. And they are different, by the way. So what does it cost to run your home and what does it cost to run your business? So if you don't know this, you need to circle these numbers. Then the next level is lifestyle. You're in this because you want to have a life. The purpose of business, the purpose of profit is to fund your life. The bigger the profit you get, the bigger the potential your life can be. So these start to layer on the lifestyle events you want to have. Maybe it is the boat, maybe it is the call, maybe it is the trips, whatever it is, you've got to get clear on what that number is. And then the last one is your legacy number. My goal for all of you is that you don't have to work until you're 95 years old unless you want to, okay? But a lot of us, including me, I have been self-employed since the age of 19. I didn't have a 401k, I didn't have investment properties, and I am really playing catch up so that when I do become optionally employed, because I don't think I'll ever retire, but I do want to be optionally employed. One goal for me is to go live one summer in Italy and go live a summer and travel around Europe. In order for me to afford to do that, I need income coming in that will cover my cost of living here and my travels in Italy. Do we get that?
Yeah.
So I gotta catch up here. So the fastest path to catching up is through owning real estate because we have predictability of what can come off of that. And those are what we call mailbox money that comes in while I'm optionally employed. So do you see the three tiers? But the first is to make a living. Now, Jordan Reed, what he believes is that the business should work for you. But in order to put the business to work, you need clarity on how the business should perform. So the first one is, what is your lifestyle number? Where do you need to be? And then what's your legacy number? What's your net worth need to be? And I'm going to give you a mathematical example here in a minute. So once we know those numbers, we can decide then the profit of our business needs to yield X. And from that, you need to have this much in GCI, which leads you to these many closed units, which then tells you how many listings you should take a month, which then earns you the database that you need. So it's a prototype. And what we believe is that most of you today are looking to just make a living. This is the MREA economic blueprint. All of you have access to this spreadsheet in the Innovate Agent Resource Drive. However, this is a very common number when I ask people what they want to make in real estate, and it's $100,000. Would everybody in here be okay with that number? Okay. If you want to make less, that is okay. But if you'd like to make more, that's okay too. But this is the 100,000 number. As you can see, we have a goal before taxes of 100,000. That means we need to gross 142,000. So we have to keep our cost of sales under 30%. Cost of sale is your cap, your royalties, any referral fees you pay an agent, or if you're on a team split. Okay? Below that are expenses. The best practice for expenses is they don't exceed 30%. Now here's the trouble in real estate, because we didn't buy a Subway, we only had $2,500 when we got in. And a lot of us aren't capitalized to invest in the business. And so we're in a pay to play state right now. But what we know is we don't want to spend over 30% or we're going to be violating these benchmarks. So when Jeff's over here talking about lead gen, you may need to buy some leads, but you may and you must keep it under 30% if you do, because you got to hold it accountable. Now, what expenses do we know we have? We have a $115 KW bill, we have $72 to the MLS, we have annual dues to your board, and then you have any gas and phone and any other business expenses that are going to pile into that, right? So in this scenario, this person needs to make 142 so they can pay their expenses and net $100,000. Who's following me so far? Raise your hand. All right. Now, what that means is that most people, they have a business made up of 40% sellers, 60% buyers. Yours up front are probably going to be more buyer heavy. Here's why. You're holding open houses. A bunch of buyers walk in and they tell you what they're looking for. You're going to be buyer heavy in the start. Those buyers later turn to sellers, or people in your sphere turn to sellers. But sellers are more confidential around their plans than buyers are. Buyers will tell everybody under the moon, if you see that house on the beach, let me know about it, okay? So your gross revenue means that 60% comes from buyers and 40% from sellers. So 85,000 from buyers, 57 from sellers. At an average 2.5% commission, That means that you need to do 5.8 million in volume. Now, our average sale price right now is between 450 and 500, but I went conservative and I used 400,000 as the average sale price. That means 15 closed sales puts 100 grand in the bank. Is everybody following? Please ask questions. All right, so what does that mean further on? You need to go on about 18 appointments a year. 18 appointments a year leads you to 15 closed sales at a 75% conversion rate. Okay, so from there, then you need to have 26. You need to have under contract that your appointments are 26 a year, which is about 2 a month. Okay, remember what I said up here? 2 a month can lead you to $100,000 a year. Then you're at 2.5 new listings. So who has questions about the economic model? Hi, you want to come talk to us?
Sure.
Yeah. What advice do you have for us? What?
Are y'all using the dry erase board?
No, you want to take it? Yeah.
We have a double booking conference trip.
All right, everybody, this is Carly. What advice do you have for our amazing rookies? As you march out of here.
On the spot.
You're
Don't
good at
stop.
this.
Keep
You're good at
going.
this.
Your best year will be year 3. Stay in there until year 3. And then you'll make a lot of money.
I love it.
I'm not lying.
I'm in agreement with you. So what she said is true. This business is like a hockey stick, and it's like this, and then it goes, whoop, and it usually is about 3 that it just takes off and you never look back. So you gotta hold on till year 3. Now, it doesn't mean broke till year 3. It means your best year will hit at year 3. All right, so this is your economic model. Now, how do we get there? Keller Williams teaches a 1-page business plan called the GPS. I can't believe I just let her take my whiteboard. I have to get it posted now. So the GPS, yeah, probably. Okay, can't not draw. The GPS stands for goal, 3 priorities, and 5 strategies. And Gary Keller has a saying: you can't be on the same page if you're using more than 1 page in the plan. So a GPS is a 1-page business plan. Now, all of you right now are in very different places in your career. And if you're on Zoom or in the room, it's overwhelming, all the stuff I've already said today. Instead of feeling as if you have to eat the whole elephant all at once, this is going to allow you to eat the elephant 1 bite at a time. Literally. You're going to work on 1 priority and 1 strategy at a time until you attack all 15 strategies. Everybody following me? We're going to work on your GPS, but I have built sample GPSs for you, and they're in the agent resource folder. I typically coach to leads, listings, leverage as your 3 priorities. So this person who I just showed on this economic model, they need 15 closed sales. For them to help 15 families, their first priority needs to be leads. Underneath that would be the 5 strategies that they're going to deploy to get leads. Everybody getting it? The first one, everybody write it on there, is sphere of influence. And then you're going to fill in your remaining 4 letters after we do the archetype and the GPT. From the GPS, we're going to shrink down your focus, and we're going to use a tool called a 411. On the other side of the page is what we use. It's called a 411. The 411 is taking your 1-year goals, chunking them in to 1 month at a time. So today, you're going to be clear on your January goals, and in fact, your next 90 days. And you're going to have clarity around what are the strategies that you need to attack in the next 90 days to put you on track. And then the third one is the week you're in. And you only do 1 week at a time. So it is January 1st, and I have written out my clear goals for the year and my clear goals for the month. And here's what needs to happen this week. And based on what I think has to happen this week, I move it to my calendar. Because if it's not on your calendar, it will not exist. Okay? So you must put it on your calendar. So these are some examples. Job goal. How many families do you want to serve? How many listing appointments do you need? What's your 3 to 4 levers you're going to deploy? Do you have your 36 touch plan activated? And what's your database goal or your needed gap? For your business, what's your profit goal? How much needs to be in the tax fund? And who am I going to use for administrative or TC services? I cannot recommend more. Stop doing your own paperwork. Dollar per hour, your best time within client acquisition and client conversations. Know how to do a transaction, but you ought to leverage it all right? They take it at closing, and it's the best money you will ever spend in your career. Then you need a personal financial goal. How much do you want in savings? How much do you want in your reserves for investing? How much personal income do you want to bring in? Here's one of the biggest mistakes, and somebody never told me. My first year, I sold 36 houses. Nobody said, Manda, go open a separate 2 accounts, put your commission check in a business account, then write a check to your tax account, and what's left over distributed as owner distribution. That is what you get to live on, not the whole commission check. And when tax time came, I had a nice tax bill due because I wasn't doing my quarterlies and I didn't hold it back. Okay, so I sold 36 houses in that first year with no withholdings held back. So what I get to do the second year, play a lot of damn catch up. And the next year I sold 54, so the tax bill went like this. But I got smarter and I figured out some ways that I could write some things off. Now you want financial goals for your month and your personal. Why does personal matter just as much as business?
Because that's your life. Personal is your life.
Right, because the purpose,
What it takes to live.
that's right, because the purpose of business is to fund this, guys. And we have to have the separation because we got to be clear on what we want, okay? Then our week. So if I want to make 400 contacts in a month, I'm going to say that week 1 needs to be 100. I'm going to hold, if I'm going to hold 10 open houses in January, how many a week am I going to hold? If that's a play you run. If you have a client event coming up, that better be in that month. Everybody's January should say bold 100 event because you all get a bold 100. Okay? Everybody should have some sort of a Happy New Year's card going out or a here's how many families that I want to serve in the year letter. Something should be going out in January in your database. And then your calls, that's your DTD2. Who are you calling this week? Oh, I'm calling A and W this week. That's going to go right here on this week's goals. Who has questions on the 411? Okay. All right, here's where the fun begins. If you've already taken this and you know your archetype, you don't need to take it again. If you haven't taken it, scan the QR code, and I want you to get your agent archetype assessment complete. It takes 3 to 4 minutes to do it. You already know your letter, solar charter. Mm-hmm. I would have wondered a little more comfortable.
Oh,
Yeah, they're just taking their assessment. Good, I think.
We can hear you.
Where are you, man? I hear you.
Turn the mic off, don't go to the bathroom. Where's the head at? Mic on.
Oh,
Don't go to the bathroom.
no, I'm getting water.
That's okay.
That is not going potty. So if you get your results, write it down on your packet.
Someone's trying.
All right, raise your hand if you're done, so I know. All right, so I think we're just waiting on one. Perfect, thank you, Jim.
And really do you? But still, I don't know. Facebook, you know, was Tuesday, so we have cold. I don't know that one, but
All right, we're gonna keep moving just as Gary finishes that up, because I think he can do it both. Now, once you have your agent archetype, we're going to get into Chat GPT, but before we do, I want you guys to see this up here. This is called your listing portfolio. One of the gifts that Jordan has is instead of asking 10,000 questions, he asks the same question 10,000 times. And when you're his coaching client, he would ask you, if I were to drop you into a deserted island and you knew nothing about how your business was performing, what's the one number you would need to know that would tell you everything about your business? And the answer is listings taken. So for Sally Prototype, which I'm going to show you in a minute, for her to make $250,000 a year in the business, she needs to take 4 listings a month. So the question that he would ask Sally is, what has to be true so that when you wake up every month, your business is generating 4 new listings a month? Okay? And the way to predict that is by building your levers. So if you know that you want to wake up and take 1 listing a month, you would want to hold the levers responsible for generating new listings to the business. Sally needs 4 a month. You guys don't. It was 15 closed sales to $100,000. That's 7 new listings. So for your business in the year ahead, how do you hold it accountable? So you're going to build these levers out. Now the first one is, what do you think it is? 40% of the closed sales we want to come from what?
SOI.
Sphere of influence. That's right. So if you want to help 20 people, then 40% of that needs to come from that sphere. You need to be able to bank on it. Then we're going to build your next 4 levers. Now, here's what Jordan is finding that most top agents are yielding their business from. First, it's the sphere. Second, it's open houses. Third, it's social media. Fourth, it's B2B or networking. And 5th, it's farming. Now, farming, to me, how I define this farming for a new agent is at least farm the neighborhood you live. It's a monthly prospecting card that drops into your neighborhood. Nothing hurt me more than pulling in and my neighbor listed with my competitor because I was a secret. Okay, so farm the neighborhood you're in. The second one is for every listing you take, you send it just listed to 100 neighbors around it. And for every under contract you have, you send a just sold to 100 neighbors around it. Okay, so if you're representing a buyer at 123 Main Street, when it goes under contract, you have Taylor deploy 100 postcards right around it. And you do the same thing with every listing you take. And I promise you, Domenico runs this play every damn deal he does. And it's like clockwork. He's on the easy button and it goes out. Now, this is the portfolio of most agents. However, you may say, I want agent to agent referral, or I want investors, or I want. You can pick your listing portfolio and your agent archetype is going to help drive that as we do this GPT. So the listing yes, Chris.
Sorry.
Open house.
Okay, sorry.
Yep, it's okay. So we're gonna identify your listing sources. Your database falls under these three things, guys. Client referrals, sphere of influence, or past clients. You don't have any past clients yet, that won't work for you. So you're gonna be relying on that sphere, and you're gonna be relying on referrals. Then you have all these other sources up here. These are ones that you can pick from. Then you're going to apply the listing portfolio percentage. So when we get to the math of this, you're going to exactly know how to hold it accountable. So you've got this in your booklet. And now we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to go to the agent 90-day play. Now, if you have your laptop or your phone, you all got an email from me this morning with the URL. The URL will take you to this 90-day play GPT extension. So all you gotta do is open up your email, look for an email from me. It came from the calendar, or did I just email it, or it was in the calendar, but
I think you just
Email.
yeah, so pull it up. And we're going to, and if you want to scan it, you can. This is here too. And this is going to lead you to the GPT that KW Innovate built. Now, if you don't have a paid version, you're going to run out of responses because a free account limits the number of questions you can ask it. This is why I believe every realtor needs a paid GPT. There's no way, guys, to run the business without a paid one, I promise. Yep.
As I understand, the paid one is like $14.95 a month.
This morning it said $20.
Yes, 20.
Oh.
Yeah. Larry, if you want to hang on, I can help you and do it online, but I want you guys to get it pulled up.
So do you want us to log into our?
Yep, go ahead and get it up. Do you have that GPT for, in the email I sent? Do you have that, the paid GPT I sent out? I see all of your, store apps. Let's see this one. There we go. I'm gonna pull it up too. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna be on free. That one's that. So what I want you to do is I want you to put this prompt in and you're gonna say, let's get started. You're gonna put that right into the GPT. Do you have a response yet? Now it's going to ask you, what are your goals or your units and volume this year? And what I want you to write back is, I am planning my 2026 business plan. And my goal is, now for play purposes, you can all do the same number because we put it on the board, or if you know your numbers, put it in. But this one is $100,000 in GCI and 15 closed units. If you're struggling or not following, call me over and I'll help you.
You said I'm planning my 2020.
2026 business plan, and my goal is 100,000 in GCI with 15 closed units. So it's gonna ask you, where are you right now in the business? How many transactions have you closed this year? So give it your answer. If it's zero, it's zero. If it's one, it's one, but give it to them. And then it says, how many do you have under contract? Go ahead and respond accordingly. So I'm gonna say I've had one closed sale and 2 in my pipeline.
So mine is not asking me, mine's asking me why the goals are important to me.
Yeah.
Should I answer that?
Yep, go ahead. It might be because it's the first time you've used it and I've used it so many times. But skipping that. You're gonna get the next question, or you should. What's your agent archetype? So Manda's an empire builder. 83% of our office is solo drivers. Was anybody else here a solo driver? Quite a bit. What were you, Elise? Connector,
I was team.
team, empire builder.
Marketing.
Hi, have you done the agent archetype yet? I'll
No,
done
I
it
was, I was on Zoom and just got here.
yet. You got the agent archetype is in here, and then the GPT is in an email. Yeah, you can click on that. So you guys should be cruising along answering the questions, right? So they help.
$100,000,
15 units.
15 minutes.
You good? Okay. The mindset, Empire Builder is a powerful place to be. You're getting to think big. So before we move on, upload your KPA. I don't have a KPA on, or some of you might not have a KPA. If you do have one, load it. If you don't, just write back and say, I don't have my KPA. Somebody tell me where they are. Are you on the 90-day target already? Yeah, so am I. So it says my 2026 goal is 15 closed units with 100,000 in income. That breaks it down to 1.25 closings a month or 3.75 a quarter. Remember what I said? I wanted you to have a clear quarterly goal. You just got it. It's 4. Can't sell 3.75 homes. So you're not trying to build everything right now. You're trying to create a predictable path to 4 deals. So we want to build a lean engine that works. Before I lock in this 90-day play, does 4 closed or pending contracts in the next 90 days still on target for you? I'll select the best 2 to 3 lead gen pillars for an empire builder at this stage. I'm going to say yes. Now, if you know your pillars that I just named up here, and you want it to be open houses and you want it to be social media, you can say the first 2 are, and give me 2 more, or please select the 4 that best fit my archetype. So you can ask both, okay? So yes, I want to do client events. I want to do business to business and open houses along with my sphere and social media. Well, I just told them the 5 pillars I wanted because Manda knew it. If you don't, let it pick it.
Mine is,
This is rolling.
Oh, yeah.
mine's giving me a lot of stuff.
Every day, we kind of break it down.
It's gonna give you your daily, weekly targets. It's gonna give you your ideal calendar. And then we're gonna ask it to build us a GPS and a 411.
So that was, client business open houses.
You pick yours. I said, I wanna do sphere, open houses, social media, B2B, and then events. That's what Amanda's gonna do. You get to pick yours. Or say, pick a 4th one for me, or pick a 5th one for me based on my archetype.
can I ask it to, and to try to develop
Yep.
one thing that I wanna work
It'll
on?
do whatever you want.
So it already built out, right,
Yep, so we built this GPT and we loaded all the KW resources in it, and we loaded all the agent archetype information in it. So it's literally a knowledge base with everything you need. It's building you the plan. So here's what mine says so far. You're not just trying to do more deals, you're building proof that you can generate opportunities relying on hope or random referrals. This is a foundation for future leverage. So snapshot, close year date 1, pipeline 2, you're behind pace. So we're gonna shift to urgency and confidence because the gap to close is possible. My archetype is a empire builder. My strength is vision, long-term thinking, and growth mindset. I focus right now on depth before width, and I'm gonna have clear models. My Legion pillars are gonna be open houses, so I need to do a minimum of 2 a month. And I need to have 10 to 15 attendees at this open house to have 2 real conversations for 1 appointment. That's what it's telling me. Then my sphere, I need to have 5 to 10 conversations per week. I think that's too low. It's 5 to 10 a day, in my opinion. So that was the only part I don't agree with. So I'm gonna focus and check in with events, client invites, and real estate curiosities. Then social media, 3 to 5 posts per week. Client events, 1 event per quarter. And B2B is business to business. I'm gonna have 1 to 2 intentional outreaches focusing on my vendor network. So it breaks down my weekly targets, my time block structure, and now it's giving me a 411 breakdown. Is everybody there? Who's not there? Elisa, where are you at?
It's asking for my KPA now.
Just say I don't have
Okay, I do have it though.
it, on your phone.
Yeah, I just pulled it up.
Oh, you do? You can load it from your phone?
Thanks, so.
Nice. I don't know how to do that. Okay. So then you're gonna, so she's only a little bit behind. The rest of you, how are you doing?
Fine.
Who has questions on the results of their GPT? Who doesn't agree with their archetype or the pillars it's suggested, or who needs help putting their lever in? How are y'all doing on Zoom? You are a quiet room. I'm gonna see you right now.
So we're supposed to give 3 pillars.
If you can say, here are the 4 or 5 pillars I want to do, or recommend me the difference of what I don't have.
I picked 2 and it only gave me 3. It only added 1.
Write back and say, I would like to have a total of 5 pillars for my listing portfolio. So, now, we wanna put this into action. So to win the year starts with just winning the day. Winning the day means win the week means win the month means win the year. But we wanna go small, we just wanna win the day. So the ideal way forward is for you to have a very clear lead generation path. Lead generation was just defined by you as your portfolio levers that you decided to choose. So you have to decide how many open houses, or let's do this, how many sphere of influence contacts per week are you going to commit to, and then by the day? How many open houses per week are you going to hold? And then whatever your remaining levers were, what does that look like per week that you're going to plan to commit to on your 411? Does everybody follow me? So mine was the social media, it was events, and it was B2B. So I know that after I do my DDD2, I'm gonna move to my open house strategies. And I'm gonna start calling and I'm gonna invite people to the open house. I'm gonna circle prospects around them. and I'm gonna door knock 100 flyers in the neighborhood and let them know that this is where they can find me Saturday or Sunday from 2 to 4. If I decide to do 10 a week, I'm gonna do a lot of that every day. Is everybody calling? Yep. Go ahead.
It was just a quick thought, but I've never thought about door knocking for open house.
Yep.
That is
So you
one.
can create the invitation, and there's two things you can do. You can do a sneak peek for neighbors and open it 30 minutes early and invite the neighbors. Or you can hold it from 2 to 4 and let them know that they can pick their neighbor and share with a friend or family that I'll be here Sunday from 2 to 4. Okay?
I did it 4 times, 2 this weeks.
Oh.
I mean,
What did I speak up? Sorry, I can't hear you.
I did it 4 times, like you about 75 houses.
Yep.
And then, 2 listing leads. I mean, it takes some sense to knock on the door, especially with people ready to knock up, but.
But here's why I like door knocking around open houses, is you're having a reason for the knock. You're letting them know that they get to pick their neighbor. And most of the time, especially, you've got signs out in their neighborhood, they're seeing the directions already and they're expecting you. So it's not a balls to the walls cold door knock, because you have a reason to be there, okay?
I was also herding squirrels at the open house. I had people set up on the back with an agent. I had people in every room of the house coming beaming through there, and I had a performative fire. So, MREA,
MRA, or 7th level open house and shift, yep.
so in shift, Gary was talking about the open house and higher number of people that you draw in when you start prospecting, with another facet of that. Because you're definitely making contact with them, but you're also getting them to come in, and when they see other people looking at the house, they feel like they need to perform on that. So
Sure. So you're also standing out. When they think about listing, they're going to think of you because you were different. You knocked the door, you did a sneak peek, or you invited them to the listing. That says a lot about you. They're likely to hold on to your information. You can also get those really cheap plastic door handle things, and you can put the flyer down in it with your business card, and you can leave it on the door if they don't answer. And then they have a leave behind for when you're not there.
I have a question. So
Yeah.
mine, after I put in that I wanted 5 pillars, it's now asking if I want them to assign weekly target pillars, typing this into 411 for map which pillar produces the first 2 listings. So do I just want it to do the 411?
You can say all the above if you want. Yeah. So the GPTs prime pretty well from the use of you agents and from us. We've loaded the GPT with all this stuff in it. What I don't want is for you to be overwhelmed with information. My goal for you is implementation. And if you get lost in the weeds of the GPT and you don't walk out of here with a plan, this would have been for nothing. So I really want all of you to have clarity on your week ahead and your next 90 days of what actions you need to be taking. Is everybody clear on that? So the 411 is really important because that's going to cause implementation. So if the GPT hasn't given you a GPS yet, say, I need to build a GPS for my business plan and I need a 411 for it. Because that's going to be your implementation. Now I want to talk a little bit about these. So open houses, if that was one of your levers, how many are you going to do? Now I would go to the GPT when I was done and I would say, give me 5 strategies on each one of these levers so that I can count on closed sales from this strategy. So then it's going to tell me how to optimize an open house, how to optimize social media, how to optimize these things. Now, here's the thing. You're going to get tempted with a lot of other ideas. If you decide you would rather replace a lever with something new than erase it, I don't want you going after 10 different strategies. That becomes a distraction. So choose what you will do. Do not write down expireds or for sale by owners if you have no plan to ever call them. Okay? I didn't have to. My sphere secured me with enough closed sales that I didn't have to go to number 6 or number 7. I could live right here. Okay? Social media, A lot of you avoid it, you have to stop. AI is going to be the new search engine. We predict Google search is already dropped by 50% because people are searching on AI. AI is looking for evidence that you are a trusted real estate professional. It's going to find it through testimonials, reviews, blogs, and video. So you need to be out there creating video. You need to have social posts on Insta and Facebook. You need to be writing blogs, and you need to be on YouTube. Now, if you can't think of video ideas, guess who can? Chat GPT. If you're still so new to the area like me, if I went out tomorrow, I would identify all the neighborhoods in Wilmington that I would go do a spotlight around. And then I would go hold multiple open houses. Jeremiah Barnett did not sell a house for 6 months. If you would have looked at his Facebook page, you would have thought he was setting the world on fire because he was in a house every single day, previewing it or holding it open, and he was promoting that property. And the general public didn't know that that wasn't Jeremiah's listing. Okay? And then when Jeremiah got a deal, he could promote that one. When he got a listing, he could promote that one. Then eventually he had to quit previewing properties because he became an expert. But until you can call yourself an expert of all 3 counties, why aren't you previewing properties and then telling a video about it? Okay? Now, events. I already mentioned 2 to 4 events. Now, I already said I would have them quarterly. Here's why I like quarterly events. I told you DTD2. So every time I called them, I had a reason for my call. Hey, Keisha, we got the movie night coming up in November. I hope that you could be there. Can I take your reservation for that? That would be my call. Okay, so I had a reason every month, every quarter for that call. You guys are going to have you're going to have our bold 100s, but you want to create a reason for every call. And then you've got B2B. Now, this is to me one of the most underutilized business plays of all real estate professionals is your vendor list. First of all, this is your client, and surrounding every transaction is a ton of vendors that help get the home to close. Would you agree? That's painters, plumbers, lenders, appraisers, attorneys, you name it. That's just the transactional list of vendors. Then you have lifestyle vendors. That's your hair, your doctor, your dentist, your orthopedic, your what's he called, a chiropractor. Like all the people that when I moved to the area, I had to text my best friend and go, who do you recommend? Who do you recommend? Who do you recommend? Instead, my agent should have had a vendor list for me. Here are my trusted partners. Here you go. Now, guess what? These people own a business, so they understand it, and they probably own a home. So they may want to buy or sell at any point with you because you've been such a valuable partner to them. So the call goes, hey, Alicia, this is Manda. How are you? Good. Great. The reason for my call is do you have a preferred real estate partner already? No. Awesome. I would love to apply for the opportunity. I'm building my vendor list for my buyers and sellers for when they relocate into the area or they make a move. And I'd like to put you on that list. In exchange, I just want to collect your information and drop off mine. And on occasion, I'm going to send you some really useful information and then hopefully partner up on some future events. Is that okay? Yes. Now they're going to go into my database. I'm going to tag them for their vendor type. I'm going to start them on a smart plan. And then I'm going to put them on a neighborhood nurture because they own a home. And they could end up with a commercial need. Is everybody following me? So most of you, if your goal was 40 closed sales, most of you don't have 1,000 nets. You want to know how to get to 1,000 nets? Right there. Their information is in the yellow pages. You don't even have to pay for it. All right. So fastest path to build it out is do that. Who has questions on B2B?
I'll just say on the B2B, we spoke the other day about this, and so I've been going around doing that, calling people, trying to build an A through Z list. And people are very receptive to it once they realize I'm not trying to sell them anything.
Right.
Apparently they get calls like this all the time being like, do you want to be part of a referral network for $1,000 a year? You can be part of it.
Yeah.
And so they keep thinking that they're like, so what's the cost? What's the buy-in, dude? And I'm like, no, there's no cost. I just want mutually beneficial, locally owned businesses to be able to help each other profit. And once they realize that, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, you can put me down.
That's right. And you know how to plus this. You're doing video spotlights on their business.
Mhm.
You're interviewing them. You're sharing it on YouTube. You're putting it on social media. Not only is your page going to see it and your friends, their friends are going to see it because you're going to tag the owner and you're going to tag the business. Guess what you're going to pick up? New followers. Then you're going to spotlight them on your website. You're going to spotlight them on your business to business. You're going to drop things off as a thank you to them. There's this law called reciprocity. It works today in 2026 still. When you help people, people want to help you. My friend Kyle Harrison had 75 vendors that kicked off 28 closed sales. All because he loved on those vendors like they were his A+ clients. Because guess what they are? Highly net worth. Okay? They don't just know one or two people, they know hundreds because they're out there pounding pavement with you. All right? So if you do nothing else today, build your Brunswick, build your New Hanover, and build your Pender Onslow list and get after it. Start first with all the transactional services and then go to your lifestyle and then build that out. Because I promise you, this is useful. You could go to your Facebook today and go, I'm building a vendor list. Who do you know that is on, who of you are friends on Facebook with me that owns a business? Comment or tag somebody because you know the algorithm doesn't show up to everybody, right? Okay.
So with this B2B, do you recommend, like I know you said to do the plan, the smart plans, but do you recommend maybe every quarter or so dropping by with some donuts or something?
Yep. So I used to at Valentine's Day, I'll come to you next. At Valentine's Day, I used to take a heart cookie to the businesses and I'd say, we love your referrals. And I would drop off my cards to them. You see Chris Spivey doing it for your paramedics, for your first responders. But they have break rooms in a lot of these businesses or they have employees in their businesses. So pop buys are very smart. You were gonna ask a question.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, can we, put the vendors in bold or is that just for?
And bold in the drawing, absolutely, they're people. Yep. Do a giveaway for them. You're welcome. What else? Who had another question? All right, so we're gonna keep working through that chat GPT, but as we round this up, because we got 13 minutes and I want to save room for questions, you have resources. Jeff in New Hanover is your collective coaching head coach. Melinda in Jacksonville is the head coach. Sarah Spa's coming on in Ocean Isle, and Lloyd Holloman is exploring Oak Island. There are 4 coaches for every office that we have that will meet with you every week and run group coaching. A lot of what I think you lack is community and synergy to have these conversations so that you can hold each other accountable. Okay. Next is market of the moment. We go live 4 days a week with conversations just like this about how to build your business. We do market updates with the stats from Jeff so that you can analyze what the market is doing, and then you turn around and you go live on Facebook with that data. It is done for you data. Then Jeff does weekly big training. So he has a dual career session in addition to going live on Zoom every single week for everybody. Next, KW training. Our 2026 calendar is published. Every class that we will offer in the year ahead is done. And all these classes are going to be about all these levers. So if you want to go deep in Instagram, there'll be a class for that. Then you have the quarterly 90-day plays. So today you all just came up with some 90-day benchmarks. And 90 days from now, we're going to do this again for the whole office. You should be in the room ready to reset and refocus. Then we have Ignite at Night. The next one launches January 13th. It is an evening event. It's 3 days a week, and you can log on from your couch in your pajamas, and you can get all of the foundational classes of Ignite under your belt. That is everything from, oh shit, I got a buyer, now what? Right? How do I hold an open house that works? That's all of those building block fundamental classes. They do integrate tech with this. So when you say, how do we do opportunities, we're going to talk to you about that too. And then ALC, you have a really, really great ALC ready to support you as well. Resources, your leadership team, KW Connect, Innovate Agent Resource Folder. If you onboarded with Madison, you should have added that. If you don't have the link tree, get the link tree on your phone. It is a shortcut right into the folder. I challenged all of you to go find the memory jogger today because you've got to get this database built. You're going to find that in that Innovate Agent Resource Folder. Rock and Red. It is the private Facebook page for all of you to ask questions, find open houses. Now here's the curse of Rock and Red. Stuff gets buried. So somebody might post about an open house, but it goes 6 deep, and then you miss that there's an open house opportunity. There's 2 things you can do about that. 1, set it to follow so that you get an alert when there's been a post. Second, if you're looking for an open house, there's a little magnifying glass. You search open house. Pay attention to the date. That could have been last month. So look up and you can find the most recent offering of an open house. Carly's team every week probably puts 4 to 8 listings up that they are looking for agents to host. There's never a shortage of open houses to cover. And then MREA podcast. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. MREA playbooks. You have a library on how to run every one of these plays. You could literally say, I want to run a play on Instagram, give it to me, and the library, and the one page is done for you. And then your books by Gary Keller. Don't forget to read those. Guys, you've got to read in this business. It just is an acknowledgement. If you came out of an industry that you didn't do a lot of reading in, that's not this one. So I promise you, a book a week will change your world. So get reading on those. So I said it already, but if you win the day, you'll win the week. You win the week, you win the month. You win the month, you win the year. Commit to your GPS and your 411. Know what your daily goals are. If you just hit the daily goals and you're done, everything else will become easier and unnecessary. But you got to get clear on what those are. You can still surf, golf, play, go do whatever you want. But damn it, hit your daily goals for me, because I promise you that's the only thing that's going to put you on track. And then you can beat the statistic, guys, because every one of you have a plan for 15 closings next year. All right. So if you still feel foggy on the goal, if it is unclear in any way, I want you to schedule a one-on-one with me or Jeff, because I do not want you walking out of here today unclear on the way forward. Okay. Who has questions as we close?
How can we get this? Is there a way to like print this out or?
Your GPT, there's a little button up there that says copy, or it's like an arrow of some kind, and it allows you to copy the whole chat, and then or you can send it to yourself. There's an arrow, and you'll just send it or copy and paste it into a doc.
Yeah, you can download a PDF.
Yeah, you can. You can just say, create me a PDF of all this. Yeah. Who else has questions? Now your 411 and your GPS are in the agent resource folder. DTD2 2026 is in the agent resource folder. Who's this? And then your memory joggers there. So you guys have all of these things right here. That's 2025. I did load 2026. I just want to show you what the DTD2 looks like in case you've never seen it. It looks like this. So if it were January 6, 2026, you would be calling A&W that first week. So any person's name that ends in A&W would hear from you. And then the third letter is a text letter. You can text or DM on social media anybody that ends with an N. This takes call bias out, and it ensures that everybody hears from you in a quarter. It's a very systematic way. Now, we started the class with your database health score. This is a good way to attack the database. So your first quarter goal might be get my database whole. So as I'm making the calls, I'm going to, by end of Q1, I'm going to have the whole database complete. And that is a very rewarding thing, because remember what I said, data is the new oil. All right. So any other questions? Was this helpful for anybody?
Yes.
All right. So we all have a way forward as we walk out of here today.
During the Faulkner Focus Hour, we're all over. Prosecutors are set to charge Nick Reiner for the murder.
You're on the Zoom. Thank you for being here. We are going to change Zoom rooms to the Market Center Zoom for the Market Center meeting because you're in my personal room right now. So log off and go to the Market Center Zoom for the sales meeting. Joy, it's good to see you. Everybody else, great to see your faces on here. Bye, y'all. Stop share. All right, use the restroom. Come on back for the sales meeting. Move.